a Self-Advocate, a self-guided curriculum. Welcome to Becoming a Self-Advocate. In this course, you will learn about disability terms, finding out about your disability and accommodation needs, finding careers of interest, learning laws and your legal rights, setting goals, and planning for school and work. When you are done, you will better know how to do well in school and work. Please click the button below to start the chapter.
Chapter 6, Talking About Disability. Please re-enter your name below, and when you are finished, click the Submit button. Welcome back. Miss Jordan here. Let's go through this chapter together. Overview. Develop a plan of talking about your disability. This is known as disclosure. You will need to know if it is okay to talk about your disability, when to talk about your disability, and how to talk about your disability. Learning objectives. Define disclosure terms. Research the if, when, and how of disclosure. Create a plan for disclosure. And apply self-advocacy principles related to disclosure. Remember that you can always go back and look at the last chapter if you want to. What are some important terms that you should understand related to disclosure?
Disclosure-related terms. Click the tabs above to learn new terms. Barriers to employment. Barriers to employment are those difficulties that an individual has that could prevent him or her from getting a job. Essential functions. Essential functions are the duties or responsibilities of a job that a person must be able to do with or without a reasonable accommodation in order to be considered for the job. Disclosure. Disclosure is the act of making your disability known to others. In some cases, you will need to decide when and how to disclose information about your disability. Hidden disability. Some people have what can be considered hidden disabilities. That means that other people may not be able to tell that they have a disability just by looking at them. Visible disability. Some people have what can be called visible disabilities. This means that others may be able to see that some sort of disability exists. Disclosure terminology, self-test. Drag the terms on the right to the definitions on the left. Great work! These terms are important for any self-advocate to understand as you consider when and how to disclose your disability to others.
Fabulous! Now you've mastered some new vocabulary. I want you to revisit my friend Mr. Drake. He's going to walk you through some of the ways to develop a plan for disclosure.
Remember me? I'm Mr. Drake. I know that sometimes it is difficult for individuals with disabilities to know when and how to disclose their disabilities. Follow along as I outline for you some issues that can help you know the advantages and disadvantages of disclosing your disabilities. You may need to tell others about or disclose your disability if people can see that you have a disability, you need help in school or work, and accommodation is needed. You need help working with others, or if you want to tell others about your disability. When to tell others about or disclose your disability. In college, when you apply, when you visit a school, you can talk about your disability with a counselor or a disability specialist. If you need help in class, or when you have problems in class. Please note that if you wait to ask for help and you get a bad grade, colleges do not have to remove bad grades from transcripts. Post-secondary institutions are not required to cut poor performances from transcripts before you have asked for an accommodation. When to tell others about or disclose your disability. At work, when you apply, at the job interview, after getting the job and before you start work, or after you start working but before you have a problem at work. Why should you disclose your disability? You can get the help you need. You have rights to accommodations. You have rights. You are protected under Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Telling others about your disability gives you a chance to tell your teacher or employer about what you can do. This can stop, limit, or prevent stereotypes. Why not to disclose about your disability? Teachers or employers may focus on your disability and not on what you can do. Teachers or employers may have unreal ideas of the disability, like always being sick or being a slower worker. You may be cut in the first stages of the selection process. One good way to tell others about your disability is to write about your disability and give this to them. You can also set up a meeting to talk about your disability. You can tell the person what problems you have because of your disability, or talk about what you do well in the class or on the job. Click the button below to download a Word document outline of the information from the previous 4 slides. If you are taking any classes, choose one and fill out this worksheet. This will help you decide whether or not to talk about your disability with your teacher. If you are taking any classes, choose one and fill out this worksheet. This will help you decide whether or not to talk about your disability with your teacher. Thank you. These are important decisions to make in any academic situation. Sometimes disclosure is important, sometimes not. You can use the same problem-solving process with any course you may take in the future. Download this form as a worksheet. For more information on disclosure, visit www.clacareer.umn.edu/interviews/disability.html. Now try looking on the internet for a job opening that you would like to apply for. Fill out this worksheet again, but this time thinking about the duties of that job. Now try looking on the internet for a job opening that you would like to apply for. Fill out this worksheet again, but this time thinking about the duties of that job. Thank you. These are important decisions to make in any academic situation. Sometimes disclosure is important, sometimes not. You can use the same problem-solving process with any course you may take in the future. Download this form as a worksheet. For more information on disclosure, visit www.clacareer.umn.edu/interviews/disability.html. Write a plan for talking about your disability. Write what you would tell a teacher or an employer about your disability. Explain your disability. Explain what you can do in class or on the job. Write about what you will do and what you will need, or the accommodations you'll need, in order to do things in class or on the job. Click here to view an example. Here is what you wrote. Click the button to print this screen, or, if you don't have a printer, take a screenshot of the screen and save it.
Outstanding work! You're almost done with Chapter 6 of Becoming a Self-Advocate. The next slides will help you review what you've learned from this chapter before you move on. And of course, you can always return to this chapter at any time if you want to review again. Keep up the good work. Please complete an end of the chapter survey. Click Next to access it.